What's up, my people? Today we are talking about how to communicate with a narcissist, part 2. In our last video, we talked about a lot of the communication techniques and strategies for dealing with a narcissist. But in this video, we need to talk about you. We need to talk about managing your own self while you're communicating with a narcissist. So drop me a note, let me know what you want to hear, let me know if this is helpful, and subscribe because it makes my day. So let's dive in. Listen, here's the thing. When you're communicating with a narcissist at work, right? Somebody who is just, they want what they want and they don't care about you, your experience, your dreams, your wishes, your preferences. They don't care because they're a narcissist and all they care about is themselves, right? We talked about the concept of narcissistic supply, which everything I learned about narcissistic supply as a concept, I learned from Rebecca Zung. So give her a follow if you want to learn more about narcissism. Incredible content. But narcissistic supply is what a narcissist feeds on. They get energy from creating big emotions in other people, whether that's positive or negative. They fill up on feeling like they're in control, on feeling like they have power, on feeling seen, on being visible, on their reputation. This is all how narcissists get their energy, right? And we talked about that a lot in the last video, but what we didn't talk about is sort of the other side of communicating with a narcissist. So whenever I work with clients on communication, I always kind of create two categories. We have to manage out. We have to manage the outer world with how we communicate, but there's the managing in part as well. And here's the thing. If you are engaged in communication consistently with someone who's a narcissist at work, you gotta have a plan for managing in. Because here's what I will tell you about working with and communicating with a narcissist. It's exhausting because in a sense you're acting, you're having to step into a caricature of yourself because you can't really be authentic with a narcissist because they'll exploit that, right? You can't really be authentic with your vulnerabilities, your tender spots, what your hopes and dreams are because they will exploit it and shame you for it. So you have to sort of show up in a way that is completely cognizant of and shrewd about giving the narcissist their narcissistic supply, but in a way that gets you what you want. And that's what we talked about in the last video. But here's the thing, getting into that mode, to connecting with the narcissist in that way, while effective, it's exhausting. It's absolutely exhausting. So here's what I want you to know. If you're working with a narcissist, you need a self-care ritual that is real. Right? I'm not talking about like, oh my God, honey, go get a massage, although you should, 100%. But I mean a real system for managing in after you deal with a narcissist, maybe even before, right? You might need a pre-game ritual for preparing to go into a meeting with that narcissist. That ritual might include things like saying a little prayer, getting some meditation time, reminding yourself who you are, what you came to do, that excellence is what you're about, and that you're going to work with this person on their terms because that's the only way to get your job done, but that it doesn't affect your self-esteem, that you are worthy, you are powerful, you are loved, and this interaction with this narcissist doesn't have to diminish you or your self-esteem. Right? If I were you, I would need a pregame ritual that would allow me to do that. In fact, one time I was dealing with a narcissistic client years ago. She was just brutal. And every time I would go into a meeting with her, I had to have a little ritual where what is my intention? What am I hoping to achieve here? How am I going to feed her needs in a way that gets my needs met too? Because that's what you have to do with a narcissist. You have to kind of figure out how to maneuver them, which is what we talked about in the last video. But the last thing I would do before I would go into the meetings with her is I would remember there is a list of things I will tolerate and a list of things I will not tolerate. And I have scripts for pushing back when I won't tolerate it. And when my gut would be twisting with anxiety walking in there, I would think about my daughters. And I would say to myself, I'm going in there strong. And I am upholding my boundaries, if not for my own sake, for my daughter's sake, because I want them to know that their mom is fierce, strong, and knows how to execute excellence even under difficult circumstances. And that little like pep talk, it was like having my Wonder Woman, bing, bing, and I would walk into that meeting and I would get it done. And trust and believe, as soon as I was able, I resigned that client and I left her speechless. Absolutely speechless. She couldn't believe I was leaving, but I wasn't quite there yet. And for those of you dealing with narcissists at work, listen, in a perfect world, as soon as you have to deal with a narcissist that has power over you, that's when you start dusting off your resume, in my opinion. But not all of us can do that for various reasons. So in the in-betweens, we got to manage, right? So a pregame ritual is really, really powerful and important to have in place. But let's talk about the postgame. Because when you come out of a conversation with a narcissist, you're going to feel a whole bunch of things. Sometimes, if you've met their narcissistic supply just right, they'll make you feel like the golden child. They will make you feel like you are the greatest thing because you gave them what they wanted. They feel like they might be able to get something from you that they need. And so you walk out thinking, maybe they're not such a narcissist. I feel amazing. Beware. If you come out of a meeting, you need to process those feelings, even the good ones. Or you might come out of the meeting feeling like gum on the underside of somebody's shoe. Either way, process your feelings, right? How do you do that? Lots of ways. You could take a walk and just like shake your arms and your body, get some motion going and say to yourself, God, okay, I'm feeling exhausted. I'm feeling downtrodden, or I'm feeling very alive and appreciated, whatever it is. In fact, let me see if I do have it right here. You just hang right on. I have a copy of the emotion wheel. This is something you can just literally Google, the emotion wheel. Look, this is what mine looks like. Ready? This is a set of emotions. Happy, surprised, bad, fearful, angry, disgusted, sad. Those are the base note emotions. But as you will see, as it zooms out, they get more detailed. So angry also has let down, humiliated, bitter, aggressive, frustrated, distant, critical. There's a million nuances to it. When you're dealing with a narcissist, unpack your feelings after you talk with them. This is incredibly important. You know why? Because it acts as a palate cleanser. Because narcissists make us feel all kinds of ways. And if we don't palate cleanse, if we don't identify what we're feeling and get a little space between ourself and our emotion, we drag all that nonsense into the next meeting and the meeting after that. And then we pick our kids up from school with that same emotion. So by decompressing after a meeting with a narcissist, you want to identify your emotion. You want to accept it and say it's okay to feel that emotion. It's okay that you feel great coming out of that meeting with that narcissist because they made you feel good. That's good. That's fine. But don't get too comfy with it because they're only treating you that way because they need something from you. Okay? Or if you're feeling bad coming out of it, don't let that affect you either because they're a narcissist. Either you upheld a boundary and they didn't like it, or God only knows how else you triggered them. It's okay to feel the feels, but don't let them color the rest of your day. Go on a walk, move them through your body. Have a post-game ritual. Lastly, if you're working with a narcissist, if you're dealing with a narcissist at work, they can sometimes wear us down to this place of just being focused on tactical survival, right? Just getting through the week, just not getting yelled at, just not getting thrown under the bus, whatever it is. And what it does is it grinds you down to this little like Flat Stanley. You know that like Flat Stanley character? He's like a paper cutout and he's just Flat Stanley. That's what a narcissist will do to your spirit. So what I want you to do as part of your inner work is create pockets of time where you can feel expansive, where you can dream a little bit, where you can vision what your future might want to be. Maybe you need a beautiful vision board where you cut out images of things you're hoping to achieve in your life or pleasures and delights you're trying to experience. Do not let them rob you of that joy, of that possibility, of that richness that makes a human life sparkle with anticipation. Be intentional about creating time for yourself on that front. So I hope this was helpful. Dealing with a narcissist is draining. You need a pregame ritual, you need a postgame ritual, and you need a way to access that spacious. And if you do that, you're not only going to survive, you're going to thrive. And drop me a note and let me know what else I can help you with. I love your comments. I live for your comments. I try my best to respond to every single one that I get, so please let me know what you think. Shine on. We need your light. And I'll see you next time.